Hello, it's been a while again. Not as long as my last break, but I was trying to think of the last time I did a video. I think it's been a couple of weeks maybe. I was out of town and then I got a really bad cold. And I feel like when I'm pregnant, it's worse. Or maybe I just am more of a baby, but it kind of knocked me out for a few days and I have this very hoarse, raspy voice, and I thought, oh, I don't feel like doing a video with this voice, and then I decided I just don't care. So I sound a little bit like a man, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about triggers today and how you can use those as a good mile marker to be able to determine how far along you are in your recovery, or I guess maybe how close you are to being fully recovered. Because we measure recovery by a mental state, not a physical state. And I'll have clients talk to me about these triggers that come up, as they're very much committed to their recovery. Triggers such as, and I'm sure everyone has, a long list of things that can set them off or, cause them to stop in their tracks and reconsider if they can really keep going forward. Some of them that are on the forefront of my mind that talked about with clients today were, I see someone exercising and I'm, cold turkey on exercise, and it makes me so anxious and I just get angry that I can't and it's not fair. And another one would be, how come so-and-so, my friend, can just skip breakfast and lunch, not even eat anything, and they don't have an eating disorder. But for me, if I do that, then I'm completely, set back for days. Another one is trying on clothes. I put on pants, or I tried on this dress that was so tight and it wasn't tight before. And another one was someone was grocery shopping and they saw someone looking at every single nutrition label and thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I should be doing that again. Why aren't I doing that? And it kind of triggers them. And as my clients share these triggers with me, I have memories of having all of those things trigger me as well. Very tangible, really dominant memories of what that would do to my insides in my head and how hard that would be. But the difference between when I had my eating disorder and when I was in recovery and being recovered, so there's when I was in my eating disorder, that trigger would completely set me off and I'd run right back to my eating disorder. When I was fully committed to recovery, that trigger would set me off and I would have to dig really deep and really, really fight the temptation to run back to my eating disorder. And that was very uncomfortable. I think people underestimate sometimes how uncomfortable or how anxious they might need to allow themselves to be in their recovery to be able to overcome or be able to ignore wanting to act out on being triggered. And so don't underestimate the power those triggers still have when you're in recovery. You still need to do the opposite, even though it feels so hard. And then being recovered, I'll have clients ask, are you triggered if I tell you what I weigh? Are you triggered by calories? And I'm like, no, not at all. Honestly, none of the triggers that used to trigger me before are triggering whatsoever. If anything, it's just a constant memory of how miserable my life was when I lived that way. So it's the opposite of a trigger. It's what keeps me absolutely never considering or even thinking about going back to my eating disorder. And you see the mental shift there, right? So that's the difference between someone who's still in recovery, the eating disorder is still very much alive and well in them, versus being recovered where you have absolutely no tug or pull or thoughts or desire to ever go back there. And so when I talk to clients and they tell me about this weight they've gained and they feel like they're pretty much they should be recovered and they feel better and all these things, yet they're comparing themselves to Susie over there and what she's eating at dinner, and they're looking at so-and-so who went to the gym and they didn't get to, and they're frustrated because their husband never eats breakfast but they have to. And I'm going, okay, so you're not there yet. I don't care about you telling me how much weight you've gained. Ask any of my clients if I've ever asked them what they weigh, what their BMI is, if they've gained weight, if they've lost weight. I don't care. It doesn't change what I'm going to tell my clients, and that is that they need to be eating unrestrictedly. Another thing that I'll hear is I feel like the more that I'm eating, the hungrier I'm getting, and that's very triggering for them. That freaks them out, and recovery must not be working for me. I must be an anomaly. Like, this is so weird. I don't understand why if I'm eating more, I'm feeling hungrier. That happens to a huge majority of people in recovery. As they start eating more, they start feeling more and more hungry. Their hunger's been so suppressed for so long that once they start consistently getting food in, then their body's like, oh my gosh, I'm starving. That's nothing to be triggered by. Understand and be reassured that that is totally okay and normal. So those are just kind of some things after working today with clients that I wanted to address. That mental state, we cannot overlook how important that is. That is so much more important than how much weight you gained or you haven't gained, or if you're in a range of BMI that's healthy. It doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters. Are you still easily triggered? Are you still acting on those triggers? Do those triggers make you feel very, very, very grateful to not be there anymore? If you can't answer yes to that last question, then you probably still are struggling with your eating disorder and your brain's not fully rewired, and you need to continue to be very disciplined and very focused in your recovery. So that's my message today. I hope you have a fantastic Monday. Thanks.